presented by Soundlibra.com. Explore more titles via the link in the description or at Soundlibra.com. Welcome to Daily Stoic Living, ancient wisdom for modern life. Before we dive in, just a quick heads up that while we're discussing mental fortitude and wellness, this content is for educational purposes and isn't medical or professional mental health advice. Always consult with a professional for your specific needs.
It's fantastic to be here, Alex. I'm really excited about this series.
Me too, Lisa. Over the next 12 episodes, we're going to explore how the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy can be applied to our everyday lives. We'll learn how to build resilience, find inner peace, and live with a greater sense of purpose, even in today's chaotic world.
And that's incredibly relevant. So many of us are looking for practical ways to navigate stress and find more stability. What exactly are we covering in this first episode?
Today, we're laying the groundwork. We'll introduce the core ideas of Stoicism and explain why these ancient teachings are not just survival guides from thousands of years ago, but powerful tools for the 21st century. We'll also give you a sneak peek at what's coming up in the series, setting the stage for the practical habits we'll explore.
So, for folks who might not be familiar with Stoicism, what's the essence of it?
At its heart, Stoicism is a practical philosophy. It teaches us to focus on what we can control, our thoughts, our judgments, our actions, and to accept what we cannot. It's about cultivating virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and self-control, and understanding our place in the world. Think of it as a training manual for the mind.
A training manual for the mind. I like that. So, it's not just about enduring hardship, but about actively developing a strong inner self.
Exactly, Lisa. The Stoics believe that true happiness, or eudaimonia, comes from living a virtuous life in accordance with nature and reason. It's not about seeking external pleasures or avoiding pain at all costs, but about building an unshakable inner character. We can't always control what happens to us, but we always have control over how we respond to it.
That concept of focusing on what we can control feels so liberating. It's easy to get caught up in worrying about things far beyond our reach.
Absolutely. And that's where the daily practices come in. This series is designed to help you integrate Stoic principles into your daily routine, much like the ancient Stoics themselves. We'll be looking at practices like morning meditation, journaling, and structured reflection.
Let's touch on those briefly. Why are simple daily habits so powerful in the Stoic framework?
Because consistent practice is how we build mental muscle, just like physical exercise builds a strong body. For example, we'll talk about morning meditations. This isn't about achieving a trance-like state, but about taking a few moments at the start of your day to set your intentions, to prepare yourself mentally for the challenges ahead, and to remind yourself of your core values. It's like checking your compass before setting sail.
A compass for the day. So, before the busyness of life kicks in, you orient yourself. That makes sense.
And journaling?
Marcus Aurelius famously kept extensive journals.
He did. Journaling, for the Stoics, was a tool for self-inquiry. It's a way to examine your thoughts, your actions, and your judgments. Did you act virtuously today? Did you fall prey to an irrational fear or desire? By writing it down, you gain clarity and identify patterns, allowing you to make conscious improvements. It's like having a conversation with yourself, guided by reason and wisdom.
So, you're not just passively experiencing life, you're consciously engaging with it and learning from it.
Precisely. We'll also discuss afternoon and evening reflections. These are structured moments to pause, to assess how you're living in line with your values, and to prepare for a restful sleep. It's a continuous cycle of practice, reflection, and improvement.
It sounds like a comprehensive approach to personal growth. This series is going to feel very actionable and practical.
That's the goal. We're not just going to talk about philosophy. We're going to show you how to live it. The world today is filled with distractions and demands on our attention. Stoicism offers a way to cut through that noise, to find clarity, and to build a stable, meaningful life. It's about finding strength and peace within yourself, regardless of external circumstances.
And you mentioned that focusing on what we can control also helps us deal with adversity. This is something we'll really delve into later in the series, isn't it?
Yes, we will. Later episodes will dive deep into the Stoic approach to handling challenges, managing our desires, understanding our duties, and even connecting with our communities and the natural world. We'll explore how to build what the Stoics called the inner citadel, a fortress of resilience within your own mind that external events cannot breach.
An inner citadel. That's a powerful metaphor for the kind of mental fortitude we can build.
It is, and it all starts with these foundational practices. By the time you're done with this series, you'll have a clear understanding of how to weave Stoic wisdom into the fabric of your daily life, creating a more resilient, peaceful, and purposeful existence. It's a journey of transformation, and it begins right here, right now.
So, to recap our first episode, Alex, we've introduced the core philosophy of Stoicism as a practical guide to living a virtuous life by focusing on what we can control. We've highlighted the importance of daily practices like morning meditations and journaling as tools for mental discipline and self-improvement, and we've given our listeners a roadmap for the journey ahead in this series, a journey towards building an inner citadel of resilience.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. We're not just talking about ancient ideas, we're making them relevant and actionable for modern life. We're equipping you with the tools to navigate the ups and downs with grace and strength. The power to shape your inner world is already within you, and Stoicism provides the map to unlock it.
And I'm personally very eager to learn more about those morning meditations we teased.
In our next episode, we'll dive deep into the power of morning meditations and how to effectively set the tone for your day the Stoic way.
Fantastic. Thanks for listening. Next episode, Morning Meditations, setting the tone for your day.
Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living. Last time, we introduced the foundational principles of Stoicism and how they can empower us in modern life. Today, we're diving into something incredibly practical, something that sets the entire stage for your day: morning meditations.
Morning Meditations. I love this topic, Alex. So often, we just roll out of bed, grab our phones, and are immediately bombarded by the world. It feels like we're just reacting instead of taking charge of our day from the very start.
Exactly, Lisa. And that's precisely the problem the Stoics sought to address. They understood the immense power of intention, of beginning your day with a deliberate mindset. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, emphasized this. He believed that our mornings should be a time for preparation, for fortifying our minds against the inevitable challenges that lie ahead.
Preparation. It sounds so simple, but yet we often overlook it. What does a Stoic morning meditation look like in practice? Is it just sitting quietly?
It can start with quiet contemplation, absolutely, but it's more than just stillness. It's about actively engaging your mind with Stoic principles. Think of it as a mental warm-up before the full game of the day begins. One of the core practices is cultivating gratitude. Before we even think about what we need to do, we pause and acknowledge what we have.
Gratitude. That's something I try to do. What are we grateful for from a Stoic perspective? Is it just for the big things?
Not all. The Stoics encouraged gratitude for the fundamental blessings of life: the ability to wake up, to breathe, to reason, to experience the world. They'd remind us to be grateful for the simple things we often take for granted: a roof over our heads, food on the table, the presence of loved ones. It's about recognizing these as gifts, not entitlements. This practice helps shift our focus from scarcity to abundance, from what we lack to what we possess. Remember, Stoicism is about appreciating what you have, not constantly yearning for what you don't.
That's a powerful distinction. So, we start by acknowledging our blessings. What else goes into this morning preparation?
Next, we engage in what the Stoics called premeditation of evils, or premeditatio malorum. Now, that sounds a bit ominous, doesn't it?
It does. My mind immediately goes to worst case scenarios.
And that's part of the point. But it's not about dwelling in negativity. It's about mentally rehearsing potential difficulties or adversities you might face that day. Imagine encountering an irrational colleague, experiencing traffic delays, or facing an unexpected setback. By visualizing these possibilities, you diminish their power over you when they actually occur. You're not wishing for these things to happen. You're simply preparing your mind.
So, you're kind of inoculating yourself against shock? Like a mental vaccine?
That's a fantastic analogy. Lisa, a mental vaccine. When these challenges arise, you've already considered them. You can respond with greater calm and rationality because you're not caught completely off guard. You remind yourself that these are external events, and while they might be unpleasant, they don't have to disturb your inner peace, your eudaimonia, your flourishing. This foresight helps you gain perspective, realizing that many of the things we worry about are unlikely to happen, and those that do might not be as devastating as we fear.
That makes so much sense. It's about focusing on our reaction, not necessarily on preventing the event itself.
Precisely. And this leads us to another crucial element, focusing on what is within our control. The Stoics made a clear distinction between what we can control, our thoughts, judgments, intentions, and actions, and what we cannot control, external events, the opinions of others, our health, or the actions of people around us. In your morning meditation, you actively remind yourself of this dichotomy.
So, you clarify your sphere of influence for the day?
Exactly. You declare, today I will focus my energy on my own responses. If someone is rude, I will choose to respond with patience. If I face a difficult task, I will approach it with diligence and focus. This conscious decision-making process prevents you from wasting precious mental energy on things that are ultimately outside your command. It's about directing your efforts where they will yield the most meaningful results within yourself.
It really helps to frame it that way. It's not about resignation, but about intelligent allocation of our mental and emotional resources.
Absolutely. And this mindful approach extends to your interactions. A Stoic morning meditation often includes contemplating your duties and how you will contribute positively to the world. It's about recognizing our interconnectedness and our role within the larger human community. We ask ourselves, how can I be of service today? How can I act with justice and kindness towards others?
This sounds like setting an intention for virtuous action.
It is. You're not just preparing to navigate the day. You're preparing to live the day in alignment with your values. You might resolve to listen more attentively to a friend, to be more patient with a family member, or to approach your work with integrity. This is about consciously choosing to be a good person, a contributing member of society, and to carry out your responsibilities with excellence. This is a key aspect of living in accordance with nature, as the Stoics would say, recognizing our natural inclination towards reason and social harmony.
So, to recap this morning ritual, we start with gratitude. We mentally prepare for challenges through premeditatio malorum. We clarify the distinction between what we can and cannot control, and we set intentions for virtuous action and contribution. That's a powerful morning routine.
It truly is. And here's a vital point. Consistency over perfection. Don't get discouraged if you miss a day or if your mind wanders. The goal isn't to achieve some state of absolute zen immediately. The goal is to practice. Even 5 to 10 minutes of this focused introspection can profoundly impact your day. Seneca himself wrote about the importance of making these practices habitual, weaving them into the fabric of your daily life. He believed that these small, consistent efforts build a robust inner strength over time.
And I imagine it gets easier the more you do it. Like any skill, right? You wouldn't expect to be a great pianist after one lesson.
Exactly. You start by learning the basic notes, and slowly you build complexity. We're not talking about complex philosophical debates in the morning. We're talking about simple, actionable principles that can be applied by anyone. The beauty of Stoicism is its accessibility. It's a philosophy for living, and it starts with how you greet each new day. So, I encourage our listeners to try incorporating just one of these elements, perhaps starting with just a minute of gratitude. See how it shifts your perspective.
That's a great starting point. Just focusing on that gratitude can really humble you and ground you before the day's demands begin.
It does. And remember, this morning practice is the foundation for how you'll handle the rest of your day. It equips you to face unexpected obstacles with resilience and to approach your responsibilities with clarity. It's about intentionally shaping your mindset before the external world has a chance to shape it for you.
So, we've covered the power of gratitude, the practice of preparing for challenges, focusing on what's within our control, and setting intentions for virtuous action. It's a comprehensive mental and emotional preparation for the day ahead.
It is. And in our next episode, we'll be exploring another cornerstone of Stoic practice, heavily influenced by Marcus Aurelius, the power of journaling. We'll discover how writing down our thoughts can be a potent tool for self-inquiry and personal growth. Next episode, journaling like Marcus Aurelius, the power of self-inquiry. Welcome back. Last time, we explored powerful morning meditations. Now, let's tackle journaling with Marcus Aurelius.
That's right, Alex. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, famously kept a private journal that we now know as his Meditations. It wasn't written for publication, but as a way for him to process his thoughts, his duties, and his own struggles. It's an incredible window into the mind of a leader trying to live a stoic life.
And that's the core of what we're discussing today, the power of journaling for self-inquiry. This isn't just about writing down what happened in your day. It's about looking inward, understanding your reactions, and guiding yourself toward more virtuous actions. It's a tool for self-awareness and, ultimately, for living a more tranquil and purposeful life.
So, how does journaling connect with our morning meditation practice? Last time, we talked about setting intentions and calming the mind. Journaling seems like the next step, where we actively engage with those calmer thoughts and reflect on our experiences.
Precisely. Think of morning meditation as clearing the canvas. Journaling is where you begin to paint, actively examining the details of your inner and outer world. It's a way to take the principles of Stoicism, like focusing on what you can control and practicing virtue, and apply them to your real-life situations. This practice helps us develop something the Stoics called prosoc, which is a kind of vigilant attention to one's own mind and actions.
Vigilant attention. I like that. It sounds like being a detective of your own life. But what does that actually look like in practice? What kind of things would someone write about?
Great question, Lisa. For Marcus Aurelius, it often involved examining his interactions with others, his own impulses, and how he was living up to his principles. He'd often remind himself of Stoic virtues like wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. He might ask himself, did I act with justice today? Was I patient with those who annoyed me? Did I succumb to any unnecessary desires? Did I spend my time wisely, or did I drift into idleness?
So, it's about holding yourself accountable to your own internal compass. This is so relatable because we all have those moments where we think, oh, I wish I'd handled that differently. Journaling gives us a structured way to look at those moments.
Exactly. And it's a safe space for that. You're not judging yourself harshly, but rather observing and learning. Consider this. When you experience a strong emotion, perhaps frustration or anger, your immediate thought might be about the external event that triggered it. But Stoicism encourages us to look at our own judgments and perceptions as the true source of that emotion. Journaling provides the perfect venue to dissect that.
So, if I felt really annoyed by a colleague today, instead of just writing so and so is so annoying, I could journal about why I felt annoyed. Was it their words, their actions, or was it my expectation of what they should have been doing?
That's the key. You're shifting the focus from blaming the external to understanding your internal reaction. You might write, I felt a spike of frustration when colleague's name said X. My initial thought was that they were deliberately trying to undermine me. But upon reflection, their tone was neutral, and their words, taken at face value, were simply a statement of fact. My frustration stemmed from my own assumption about their intentions and my desire for things to go a certain way. Next time, I'll try to pause before reacting and consider alternative interpretations.
Wow, that's a powerful shift. It's about recognizing that our interpretation of events, rather than the events themselves, is often what causes us to stress. It's like wearing a pair of glasses that color our reality. Journaling helps us see what color those glasses are, and if we want to change them.
A fantastic analogy. And by regularly examining your thoughts and actions, you start to identify patterns. You might notice you consistently get upset by a particular type of comment, or you tend to procrastinate on certain tasks. This self-awareness is invaluable. It's a foundation for making conscious choices to improve.
It reminds me of how athletes or musicians practice diligently to improve their skills. This journaling practice is like the mental equivalent of that. It's training your mind to be more resilient and virtuous.
Absolutely. And like any practice, consistency is crucial. Even just 5 or 10 minutes a day can make a significant difference. It doesn't need to be a literary masterpiece. It's about the act of reflection itself. Here are some prompts you might consider to get started. 1. What events today challenged my equanimity, and how did I respond? 2. Did I act in accordance with virtue today? Where did I fall short, and how can I do better tomorrow? 3. What am I grateful for, even in challenging circumstances? 4. What negative judgments did I make about external events or other people, and could those judgments be mistaken?
Those are great starting points. And the repetition of these questions day after day helps really embed the Stoic principles into our thinking. It's like a constant reinforcement.
It is. And over time, you'll start to notice that you're not just writing about your reactions, but you're beginning to anticipate them. You're becoming more adept at catching yourself before you react impulsively or fall into unhelpful thought patterns. This practice is also excellent for managing desires. Remember, Stoics believe that unchecked desires lead to unhappiness. By journaling, you can examine the root of your desires. Are they for things truly beneficial, or are they merely fleeting cravings? Are they within your control?
That's a crucial point. So many of our modern anxieties stem from chasing desires we can't control. Recognizing that through journaling can be incredibly freeing. It helps us discern what is truly important.
It does. And it builds what the Stoics called the inner citadel, a place of mental resilience and peace that external circumstances cannot easily breach. By consistently engaging in self-inquiry through journaling, you're fortifying that inner citadel. You're learning to find your calm amidst the storm.
So, to recap, Stoic journaling is a powerful tool for self awareness and personal growth. It encourages us to examine our thoughts, emotions, and actions, much like Marcus Aurelius did. By asking ourselves probing questions about virtue, reactions, and desires, we can gain deeper insights into our inner workings, identify patterns, and learn to respond to challenges with greater equanimity and wisdom. It is about understanding our judgments and perceptions as the drivers of our feelings, rather than the external events themselves.
Exactly. It's a practice that, with consistency, can fundamentally change how you navigate life, fostering a deeper connection with your principles and a more profound sense of inner peace. It's about taking the abstract ideas of Stoicism and making them concrete in your daily experience. Next episode, we'll be moving to afternoon reflections, a crucial step in reinforcing our daily Stoic habits and ensuring our morning intentions carry through the rest of the day. Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living, ancient wisdom for modern life. Last time, we explored the power of morning meditations and the insightful practice of journaling.
Absolutely, Alex. Those morning routines felt like building a strong foundation for the day. But if I'm being honest, the afternoon can sometimes feel like a bit of a drift.
That's precisely where our focus needs to be today, Lisa. We're diving into afternoon reflections, navigating the midday mind. This is all about intentionally pausing during the day, checking in with ourselves, and making sure we're not veering off course.
Proactive course correction. I like that. So, it's not just about what we start with, but how we maintain our momentum and intention throughout the entire day.
Exactly. Think of your day like a journey. You wouldn't just set out in the morning and never look at your map again, would you? The Stoics were all about vigilance, being aware of our thoughts, our actions, and our progress.
So, an afternoon reflection is like that map check. It allows us to see if we're still heading in the right direction. What does this actually look like in practice?
It can be both, but the key is intentionality. It doesn't need to be a long, drawn-out affair. It could be a simple 5-minute pause. You take a breath and you ask yourself a few key questions.
What kind of questions? To help me picture this, what might I be asking myself?
Great question. The first is, am I acting in accordance with my values? Remember, our values are our compass. Are your actions today aligning with what you believe is right?
That's a powerful check. Sometimes, without realizing it, we can get caught up in the urgency of a situation and say or do things that don't truly reflect who we want to be.
Precisely. The second question is, am I focused on what is within my control? Stoicism teaches us to distinguish between what we can influence and what we cannot. Are you dwelling on things you can't change? Or are you directing your energy toward your own thoughts, judgments, and actions?
That's so important. It's easy to get swept up in the what ifs or the if onlys. So, the afternoon reflection helps pull us back to our own sphere of influence.
Exactly. And that leads to the third key question. Have I made progress in my intentions for the day? This doesn't necessarily mean huge achievements. It could be that you intended to be more patient and you recall a moment you successfully managed your temper.
So, it's not about judging ourselves harshly if we haven't won the lottery by midday, but rather recognizing the effort and the small steps forward.
Absolutely. And this brings us to a crucial aspect, dealing with distractions and unexpected challenges that inevitably arise. The afternoon is often when these pop up. Instead of letting it derail your entire afternoon, you can briefly assess it.
How do you assess it from a Stoic perspective?
You apply the same principles. Is this situation something I can influence? If so, what is the virtuous way to respond? If not, how can I accept it with equanimity?
It's like training your mind to see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities to practice our Stoic virtues.
That's a wonderful way to put it, Lisa. And this practice has a direct impact on our evening. By engaging in these afternoon reflections, we prevent those "what did I even do today" feelings. We stop problems from festering and instead address them constructively.
It sounds like it leads to a much more peaceful transition into the evening review, which we'll discuss next. Instead of feeling a rush of anxiety about wasted time, we can approach the evening with a clearer picture of our day.
Precisely. The afternoon reflection serves as a bridge. It's the midday checkpoint that ensures we're not just passively experiencing the day, but actively shaping it. It's about staying present and engaged. Think of it as a mental reset button.
I can see how this practice, even for just a few minutes, could fundamentally shift the quality of how the second half of the day unfolds. It keeps us accountable to ourselves in a gentle, consistent way.
And that consistency is key. The Stoics understood that virtue is built through daily practice. Our afternoon check-in is a vital part of that consistent practice. It's a moment to reaffirm our commitment to living a reasoned, virtuous life.
So, to recap for our listeners, afternoon reflections are about intentionally pausing during the day, typically around the midday point, to assess our alignment with our values, our focus on what's within our control, and our progress on our daily intentions. We use these reflections to address distractions and challenges constructively, preparing us for a more peaceful transition into our evening reviews.
You've summarized it perfectly, Lisa. It's a practice of mindful self-guidance that keeps us on our chosen path.
I'm already thinking about how I can incorporate this into my own day. A quick pause after lunch, perhaps.
A great place to start. Remember, it's about building a habit of awareness. And this awareness naturally leads to more effective action.
Thank you, Alex. This has been incredibly helpful.
Thank you, Lisa. And for everyone listening, remember to carry this intention with you as the day progresses. Next episode, Evening Reviews, Consolidating Wisdom and Preparing for Sleep. Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living. Last time, we explored the power of afternoon reflections. Now let's tackle the crucial Stoic practice, the evening review.
The evening review. It sounds so important, Alex. It's like the day's grand finale, right?
Exactly, Lisa. Think of it as your personal debrief. It's where we consolidate everything we've experienced and learned throughout the day. We're gathering the wisdom from our morning meditations, our journaling, and those afternoon checks.
So, it's not just about sleep. It's about processing the day before we rest.
Precisely. The Stoics were masters of self-examination. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about going over his day before sleep, asking himself, what wrong have I done? What good have I failed to do? Where have I fallen short?
Those are some powerful questions, and they can feel a little daunting. Where do we even begin?
We begin by understanding the purpose. The evening review helps us to acknowledge our actions and judgments. Did we act in accordance with our values? Did we exercise virtue? It's also about learning from mistakes without excessive self-criticism. And third, it prepares us for a peaceful night's sleep and a more focused tomorrow.
So, it's a gentle checkup, not a harsh judgment.
Exactly. It's about objective evaluation. Seneca suggested asking ourselves three main questions at the end of the day. First, what is the worst thing I have done today? Second, what is the best I have done? And third, what is the most important matter that has occupied me?
Okay, so thinking about the worst thing, is that to dwell on our failures?
Not at all. It's to learn from them. When we identify a mistake, it's an opportunity. Did you lose your temper? Did you say something unkind? The goal is to pinpoint the moment, understand the trigger, and consider how you could have responded differently, more virtuously. It's about recognizing patterns in your behavior so you can break them.
So, if I snap at someone, the review isn't about feeling guilty, but about asking, why did I snap? Was I stressed? Could I have taken a breath instead?
That's a perfect example, Lisa. And then we move to the second question. What is the best I have done? This is crucial for reinforcing positive behavior. Did you show patience? Did you act with integrity? Recognizing and appreciating your good deeds, however small, builds momentum. It shows you what's working and encourages you to repeat those virtuous actions.
That makes sense. It's about balance, acknowledging where we need to improve and celebrating where we succeed.
Exactly. And the third question, what is the most important matter that has occupied me? This helps us understand our priorities. Were we focusing on what truly matters, or were we distracted by trivialities? Do we spend time on our duties, on our relationships, on our personal growth? Or do we get lost in unproductive worries? This question brings clarity to our focus.
This ties back to what we discussed earlier, doesn't it? About distinguishing what's within our control and what isn't, and focusing our energy wisely.
Absolutely. This evening review is a practical way to ensure we're aligning our actions with those Stoic principles throughout the day. It's a daily check to see if we're living as we intend to live, and it helps us consolidate the lessons learned. Remember when we talked about journaling? This review is a chance to see if the insights from your journal are actually translating into your daily actions.
So it's connecting the internal work with the external experience.
Precisely. And an important part of this review is also gratitude. Even on difficult days, there are things to be thankful for. Perhaps it's a lesson learned from a challenging situation, or the support of a friend, or simply the experience of being alive. Cultivating gratitude, especially at the end of the day, shifts our perspective from what's lacking to what's abundant.
It's about finding the silver lining, even when things are tough. And that can make all the difference to our state of mind before sleep.
A profound difference. This practice helps us to gain closure. We're not carrying emotional baggage into the night. We've acknowledged, learned, and let go. This allows for deeper, more restorative sleep, which in turn prepares us for the next day. This evening review isn't just an end-of-day ritual. It's a bridge to a better tomorrow.
So, to recap what we've covered today, the evening review is a vital Stoic practice for consolidating wisdom and preparing for sleep. It involves asking three key questions. What is the worst thing I have done today? What is the best I have done? And what is the most important matter that has occupied me?
That's a great summary, Lisa. And remember, the goal is not perfection, but progress. It's about continuous self-improvement, approached with self-compassion and a commitment to learning. This daily cycle of meditation, journaling, afternoon reflection, and evening review creates a powerful framework for living a more intentional, virtuous, and tranquil life. We've now completed the cycle of our daily practices as outlined in the Stoic tradition.
It feels like we've built a really solid foundation for daily life.
We have. And in our next episode, we'll take everything we've learned and apply it to a fundamental aspect of Stoic philosophy, responding to adversity. We'll explore how to build an unshakable inner citadel. Next episode, responding to adversity, the Stoics' inner citadel. Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living. Last time, we explored journaling for self-inquiry. Today, we're tackling how to respond to adversity.
Adversity is inevitable, Alex. It can feel overwhelming, but Stoicism gives us tools to navigate life's storms with resilience.
Exactly. The Stoics teach us about building an inner citadel. Think of it as a strong, fortified mind that remains unshaken by external turmoil. It's not about ignoring problems, but about calmly addressing them from a place of inner strength.
That's where our true power lies, isn't it? And you often mention Epictetus's key distinction.
He emphasized what's within our control and what isn't. Our opinions, motivations, desires, and aversions are ours to command. Our bodies, possessions, reputations, and external circumstances are not. This is fundamental to handling adversity.
So, our thoughts, judgments, and reactions are within our influence. Things like the weather or other people's actions are not.
Precisely. When challenges arise, instead of lamenting the event, we examine our judgment of it. Is our distress from the event itself or from our opinion about it?
That's a game changer. If I'm stuck in traffic, that anger is really about my belief that traffic is an intolerable inconvenience, not the traffic itself.
You've got it. Recognizing this allows us to choose a different response. We can accept traffic is outside our control. We can't clear the road, but we can control our reaction. We can choose not to let it spoil our mood.
So, the inner citadel is built by focusing on what we can control: our character, our responses, our virtue, and accepting what we cannot.
It takes practice. Seneca suggested a technique called premeditation of evils, or premeditatio malorum.
That sounds intense. What does it involve?
It's about deliberately contemplating potential misfortunes, losing a job, facing criticism, illness. By thinking them through beforehand, we reduce their shock value if they occur.
So, you're mentally preparing for how you'd cope, readying your inner fortress for potential attacks?
Exactly. You assess how you would act and maintain inner peace, realizing your capacity for reason and virtue remains intact. This practice lessens the fear of the unknown.
That makes you much more resilient. It's like a mental fire drill.
A perfect analogy. This also leads to detaching from outcomes. We often tie our happiness to specific results.
So, the Stoic approach is to focus on doing our best, acting virtuously, and then letting go of whether we get the exact result we hoped for.
Precisely. You control your effort and conduct. You don't control the final outcome. A doctor focuses on providing excellent care, not guaranteeing recovery.
Focusing on our actions and intentions rather than results is incredibly freeing. It reduces anxiety and disappointment.
It allows us to act with purpose and integrity, knowing we're doing our part. Adversity then becomes an opportunity to exercise virtues like courage and wisdom. It proves the strength of our inner citadel.
To recap, Stoicism builds an inner citadel by distinguishing what's in our control, our judgments and actions, from what's not. We practice premeditatio malorum, contemplating potential misfortunes to reduce their shock value. And we detach from outcomes, focusing on performing our duties with excellence and virtue, accepting the result is not fully in our hands. This approach doesn't prevent challenges, but allows us to meet them with resilience.
It's about creating a robust internal framework that external events can't dismantle. This concept of the inner citadel is truly powerful.
It is. And it leads perfectly into our next topic: managing our desires. Often, our desires are a major source of suffering. Join us next time as we master the art of desire management.
Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living. Last time, we explored how to build your inner citadel to withstand adversity. Today, we're diving into a topic that's absolutely crucial for inner peace: managing our desires.
Managing desires. That sounds like a big one, Alex. I think we all struggle with wanting more or different things, right? It's hard to feel content when there's always something new to want.
You've hit the nail on the head, Lisa. Unchecked desires are a major source of human suffering. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed that our relentless pursuit of external things, more money, more possessions, more recognition, often distracts us from what truly matters and leads to a constant state of dissatisfaction.
So, if we want to find true tranquility, we have to figure out how to control what we want.
Exactly. It's not about suppressing all desire, but about understanding and wisely directing them. The Stoics, like Zeno and Chrysippus, taught us to differentiate between different types of desires. They categorized them into natural and unnatural, and necessary and unnecessary.
Okay, let's break that down. What do they mean by natural versus unnatural desires?
A natural desire is one that aligns with our fundamental human needs and our nature. Think about the desire for food when you're hungry, or the desire for shelter when you're cold. These are basic, essential needs that help us survive and thrive. They are good.
Right, that makes sense. Hunger is a natural feeling, and wanting food to satisfy it is a natural desire.
Precisely. Now, unnatural desires are those that go beyond our basic needs, often driven by societal pressures, unhealthy habits, or a desire for excess. Imagine wanting a feast when you're not hungry, or desiring a collection of rare jewels simply for the sake of having them. These are often manufactured desires.
So it's the difference between needing to eat to live and wanting to eat a gourmet meal every night just because it's available or because others have it.
That's a perfect way to put it. And then we have the distinction between necessary and unnecessary desires. Necessary desires are those that are crucial for our well-being and survival. The natural ones we just talked about. Without fulfilling them, we suffer, we can't function.
So, food when you're hungry, water when you're thirsty, a safe place to sleep.
Yes. Now, unnecessary desires are those that, while they might seem appealing, are not essential for a good life. They might add comfort or pleasure, but their absence doesn't fundamentally harm us or prevent us from living virtuously. For example, desiring a particular brand of clothing or wanting to travel to an exotic location when you already have comfortable clothes and a stable home.
So, I can want a fancy sports car, for instance, but it's an unnecessary desire if I already have reliable transportation. It's not going to hurt me if I don't get it, unlike starving if I don't get food.
Exactly. The Stoics would argue that focusing on these unnecessary desires is where we often get ourselves into trouble. They aren't inherently bad, but they are often slippery slopes. The pursuit of them can lead to anxiety, disappointment, and a constant feeling of not enough.
It's that idea of chasing after things that don't actually bring lasting happiness, just temporary satisfaction.
Exactly. And often, these unnecessary desires can become so ingrained that we start to believe they're necessary. We get caught up in what society deems valuable. The Stoics, drawing from founders like Zeno, encouraged us to constantly question these desires. Are they truly serving our well-being? Are they aligned with virtue?
So the practice would be to pause and ask ourselves, do I need this or do I just want it? And then, is this desire something that will genuinely make me a better person? Or is it just about external acquisition?
That's the core of it. And this leads to cultivating contentment. Contentment, for the Stoics, isn't about resignation. It's about appreciating what you have. It's about recognizing that a good life isn't dependent on endless acquisition, but on the quality of your character and your actions. As Chrysippus might have said, our happiness comes from living in agreement with nature, and that includes recognizing what is truly sufficient.
I can see how this connects to what we discussed about adversity. If we're not constantly yearning for external things, we're less devastated when they're taken away or when we can't attain them. Our peace isn't contingent on getting what we want.
Precisely. By moderating our longings and appreciating simple pleasures, we build resilience. We learn to find joy in what is readily available. Think about a warm meal, a good conversation, the feeling of accomplishment after completing a task. These are simple pleasures that don't require much, but they're deeply fulfilling when we allow ourselves to appreciate them.
It's like we're retraining our minds to find abundance in what we already possess, rather than scarcity in what we lack.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Lisa. This process of managing desires is a continuous practice. It involves self-awareness, thoughtful reflection, and a commitment to aligning our actions with virtue. When our desires are aligned with virtue, with wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, they naturally lead us toward a life of purpose and genuine happiness.
So, to recap for our listeners, the Stoic approach to managing desires involves 1. Distinguishing between natural and unnatural desires, focusing on what's essential for our well being. 2. Differentiating between necessary desires, which are crucial for survival and function, and unnecessary desires, which can be a source of suffering. And 3. Cultivating contentment by appreciating what we have, finding joy in simple pleasures, and ensuring our desires align with virtue.
That's a fantastic summary. And by mastering our desires, we free ourselves from the endless cycle of wanting, worry, and disappointment. We step closer to that inner peace we're all striving for. This ties directly into our next episode, where we'll discuss the Stoic virtue of duty and how living a life of purpose can further solidify that inner tranquility.
Next episode, focusing on duty, living a life of purpose and contribution.
Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living. Last time, we explored managing desires for greater tranquility. Now let's tackle duty.
Duty can sound like a heavy word, Alex. But I know the Stoic view is quite different, right? It's tied to living a meaningful life.
Exactly, Lisa. For the Stoics, duty isn't a burden. It's the cornerstone of a life well lived. It's about recognizing that we are social beings, interconnected with others. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself of this social nature. He saw our lives as a series of roles we play, as a parent, a child, a friend, a citizen, a human being. Each of these roles comes with certain duties.
So, it's about understanding the different hats we wear in life and the responsibilities that come with each hat.
Precisely. Think of it this way. If you're a baker, your duty is to bake bread. If you're a doctor, your duty is to heal. These are specific, tangible duties related to a role. But Stoicism takes this further. It speaks to our duty as human beings to act virtuously, to contribute to the common good, and to live in accordance with nature. This broader sense of duty provides a powerful framework for purpose.
That makes sense. When you know what your purpose is, even the difficult tasks can feel more manageable because you see how they fit into the larger picture. It's like having a compass.
That's a perfect analogy, Lisa. Duty acts as our compass. It guides our actions, especially when our personal inclinations might pull us in different directions. Imagine you wake up and don't feel like going to work. Your duty as an employee, as someone who is part of a larger economic and social structure, is to show up and do your job. This duty, when embraced, transcends your fleeting mood.
So, it's about acting with integrity, regardless of how we feel in the moment. It's about diligence in our responsibilities.
Absolutely. Stoicism encourages us to identify our roles and responsibilities and approach them with diligence and integrity. It's not about performing these duties reluctantly. It's about seeing them as opportunities to exercise virtue, justice, wisdom, courage, and temperance. For instance, if your duty is to care for a sick family member, it's an opportunity to practice compassion and patience.
And this connects to our personal reflection practices we've discussed in earlier episodes, like journaling and evening reviews.
It absolutely does. Our morning meditations set the intention. Journaling helps us inquire into our thoughts and actions, and evening reviews allow us to assess how well we fulfilled our duties. By reviewing our day, we can see where we excelled and where we might have fallen short. This self-awareness is crucial for continuous improvement in living up to our responsibilities. Remember when we discussed self-inquiry? This is where the rubber meets the road. It's about examining our actions in light of our duties.
So, the journaling and reflection aren't just for personal growth, they're tools to help us better fulfill our obligations to others and to the world around us.
Exactly. And here's a key point. Stoics believe that by focusing on our duties, we gain a profound sense of fulfillment. It's an internal reward, a deep satisfaction that comes from knowing you are contributing, that you are playing your part purposefully. This is different from seeking external praise or pleasure. It's about living according to your nature, your role, and your principles.
It sounds like a powerful antidote to feelings of aimlessness or the modern obsession with constant self-gratification.
It truly is. When you embrace your duties, you find a sense of order and meaning. You're not just drifting through life, you're actively engaged in what matters. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the interconnectedness of humanity. He saw us all as citizens of one great community, the cosmos. Our duties extend beyond our immediate circle to encompass our duty to humanity itself.
That's a much grander scale of duty. So, it's not just about being a good employee or a good family member, but also a good global citizen?
That's right. Our duty extends to contributing to the common good. This might involve acting justly in our dealings, speaking truth, or offering assistance to those in need. It's about recognizing that our individual well-being is tied to the well-being of the whole. By focusing on how we can best contribute, we find purpose that is both personal and universal.
So, to recap what we've discussed about duty, it's central to a meaningful Stoic life, stemming from our social nature. It involves identifying and diligently fulfilling our multiple roles and responsibilities with integrity. Our reflection practices help us assess how well we're living up to these duties, and by embracing them, we find internal fulfillment and contribute to the greater good.
You've captured it perfectly, Lisa. And the beauty of this is that it's always within our power. We can't always control external circumstances, but we can always control how we respond to our duties. We can choose to act with virtue, diligence, and purpose, no matter the challenge. This focus on duty is a powerful anchor in a chaotic world. It gives us a clear path forward, reminding us of our interconnectedness and our potential to make a positive contribution.
It really shifts the perspective from what do I have to do to how can I best contribute through my actions.
Precisely. And this naturally leads us to our next topic, which is a deepening of this outward focus, the importance of community service within Stoicism. We'll explore how actively serving others is not just a good deed, but a vital aspect of living a virtuous and purposeful Stoic life. Next episode, Cultivating Community Service, the Stoic contribution to society. Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living. Last time, we explored the profound Stoic concept of duty. Today, we're building on that to discuss cultivating community service.
Community service. It sounds big, doesn't it? Alex, how does this tie into the core Stoic ideas we've been discussing?
For the Stoics, especially Marcus Aurelius, the idea of being a citizen of the world was a genuine calling. They believe we are all interconnected, part of a larger cosmic whole. Our duties extend outwards to the entire human community.
So, it's not just about looking after ourselves, but actively contributing to the well being of everyone?
Exactly. When we act for the good of others, we're living in accordance with nature and demonstrating virtues like justice and kindness. Marcus Aurelius wrote about his duty to act for the common good, seeing himself as part of something much larger.
That makes sense. It feels like a natural extension of focusing on duty as we discussed last episode.
Precisely. The Stoic motivation for service comes from within, from understanding our obligations to our fellow human beings. It's about finding fulfillment in contributing, not in the reward. When we are actively working for the betterment of others, it naturally reduces our own anxieties and allows us to feel more connected.
So, when we serve our community, we're actually serving ourselves by living a more virtuous and fulfilling life?
You got it. By contributing to the common good, we reinforce our own character development. We practice empathy and develop a sense of shared humanity. Imagine a small act of kindness, helping a neighbor, offering a listening ear. Each of these acts ripples outwards.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed and think, what can one person do? But you're saying that even small, consistent actions matter greatly.
Absolutely. The key is to consistently look for opportunities to contribute within your capacity. It could be through your profession, your hobbies, or simply your interactions with others.
that reframes community service from a chore to an opportunity to live out Stoic virtues.
Exactly. And this ties directly into the Stoic idea of logos, the rational order of the universe. By contributing to the welfare of others, we are aligning ourselves with that natural order. When we focus solely on our own self-interest, we become isolated.
It's about moving beyond the individual self to embrace our role as part of a larger collective.
That's a perfect way to put it, Lisa. And this practice of community service fosters a sense of interconnectedness. It breaks down the artificial barriers we often create between ourselves and others. When you work side by side with people from different backgrounds, you develop a deeper understanding and appreciation for humanity. This empathy is a crucial virtue.
So, to recap, the Stoic approach to community service is rooted in the belief that we are all interconnected citizens of the world. Our duties extend beyond ourselves to the common good. By contributing, we live virtuously, align with nature's order, and foster empathy and a sense of interconnectedness. Even small, consistent acts of service can have a profound impact.
That's a concise and accurate summary, Lisa. The Stoic doesn't serve for external reward, but for the internal satisfaction of living a virtuous, rational life in harmony with others. It's about actively participating in the human project, not as a detached observer, but as a committed contributor. It reinforces the idea that our personal well-being is deeply intertwined with the well-being of the society we inhabit.
This really connects back to the idea of purpose we touched on earlier. Living a life of purpose often involves contributing to something larger than ourselves.
It absolutely does. And this focus on community service can be a powerful antidote to feelings of isolation or meaninglessness. When you're actively engaged in helping others, you find a deeper sense of purpose and belonging. It's a tangible way to put Stoic philosophy into practice.
It sounds like a vital piece of the daily Stoic living puzzle, Alex, taking those principles of virtue and duty and extending them outward into service to humanity.
It truly is. It's about recognizing that our individual flourishing is deeply linked to the flourishing of the communities we are a part of. And as we look towards our next episode, we'll be exploring another fundamental Stoic principle, aligning with nature and understanding our place within the greater cosmic order.
Next episode, aligning with nature, living in accordance with the logos.
Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living. In our last episode, we explored the profound importance of contributing to our community through service. Today, we're diving into a concept that underpins so much of Stoic thought, aligning with nature and living in accordance with the logos.
Living in accordance with nature. It sounds so simple, Alex, but I have a feeling there's a lot more to it than just enjoying a walk in the park. What does this really mean from a Stoic perspective?
You're spot on, Lisa. For the Stoics, nature wasn't just about the trees and the sky, though they certainly valued those. It was about understanding the fundamental order and rationality of the universe. They called this universal reason the logos.
The logos. That's a term we hear a lot in relation to Stoicism. Can you break down what that means for us in plain terms?
Absolutely. Imagine the universe as a vast, intricate machine that's not running randomly, but with a deep, inherent logic and purpose. The logos is that guiding principle, that intelligence that orders everything from the smallest atom to the largest celestial body. It's the reason why things happen the way they do, why the sun rises, why seasons change, why cause leads to effect. It's the rational structure of reality itself.
So, when the Stoics say live in accordance with nature, they mean living in harmony with this universal reason, this grand design?
Precisely. It means understanding that we are part of this cosmic order, not separate from it. Our own human nature, our capacity for reason, is a fragment of that universal logos. Therefore, living in accordance with our own nature means using that reason to understand and accept the way the universe works.
That sounds like it could really help with accepting things we can't control. If everything is happening according to a rational order, then perhaps my frustration with a traffic jam or a project not going as planned is actually resistance to that order.
Exactly. This is where the connection to our previous discussions on adversity becomes so clear. When we resist what happens, we're essentially fighting against the logos. We're wishing the universe were different from how it is, and how it necessarily must be if it's operating according to its inherent nature. Stoics believed that true peace comes from this acceptance.
So it's not about being passive or apathetic, but about intelligent surrender, understanding what is within our control, our judgments, our actions, and what is not, external events, the actions of others, the outcomes of our efforts.
That's a perfect way to put it. Living in accordance with nature means focusing our energy on what we can do, with wisdom and virtue, and accepting the results with equanimity, knowing they are part of the larger unfolding of the logos. Think of it like a sailor. A good sailor doesn't rage against the wind and waves. They learn to use them, to navigate with the elements, understanding that the sea has its own nature.
That's a great analogy. So, how do we actually do this? How do we apply this idea of aligning with the logos in our daily lives beyond just acknowledging it's out there?
It starts with diligent observation and reflection. We need to continually ask ourselves, is my desire, my fear, my reaction in line with reason and the natural order? Are my actions contributing to the common good, as the logos would intend? Remember Marcus Aurelius's frequent reminders to himself to act for the common good? That's living in accordance with nature.
So, if I see someone struggling and I feel an urge to help, that impulse is likely aligned with the logos because it promotes the well being of the community, which is part of the universal order.
Yes. And conversely, if you find yourself consumed by envy or anger or an insatiable desire for something external, those are usually signs that you're out of sync with nature. You're placing undue importance on something that is ultimately indifferent or transient and neglecting the rational core of your own being.
This also connects to our previous episode on managing desires, doesn't it? If we understand that external things are fleeting and part of the natural flow, we can learn to desire them less intensely, or even desire that they are simply as they are.
Absolutely. By understanding the transient nature of external things, wealth, reputation, even health, we can liberate ourselves from the anxiety and disappointment that comes from clinging to them. We can appreciate them when we have them, but not be devastated when they change or disappear, because that change is simply nature at work.
It's about cultivating a kind of cosmic perspective, isn't it? Seeing ourselves as a small, rational part of this immense, rational whole.
Precisely. When we embrace this perspective, we find a profound sense of peace. We realize that bad things aren't inherently bad. They are simply events within the grand unfolding of the logos. The only bad thing is to act against reason, against our own nature, and against the common good.
So, to recap our discussion on aligning with nature and the logos. First, we understand that the universe is governed by a rational principle, the logos, an inherent order and intelligence. Second, living in accordance with nature means living in harmony with this universal reason, recognizing ourselves as part of this cosmic design. Third, this acceptance of the natural order helps us to navigate adversity, manage our desires, and focus on our duties by understanding what is within our control and what is not. And finally, this perspective cultivates inner peace and equanimity by freeing us from resistance to the inevitable flow of life.
That's a fantastic summary, Lisa. It really brings together the threads of acceptance, reason, and our place in the universe. This understanding of the logos provides a robust framework for all the other Stoic practices we've discussed. It helps us see why we should be virtuous, why we should serve, and why we should remain calm in the face of challenges.
It makes so much sense. When you feel connected to something larger and inherently rational, it's easier to let go of the small stuff that so often throws us off balance.
Indeed. And this perspective naturally leads us into our next topic, which is all about bringing all these elements together into a complete, lived Stoic lifestyle. We're getting close to the end of our series. Next episode, building a complete daily Stoic lifestyle, synthesis and practice. Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living. Last time, we explored aligning with nature. Now we're building a complete Stoic lifestyle by synthesizing all our practices.
Exactly, Alex. We've covered morning meditations, journaling, reflections, and how to handle challenges while managing desires, focusing on duty, serving others, and connecting with nature. This episode is about weaving those threads into a single, strong fabric for daily life. It's about making Stoicism a living practice.
Think of it like this. Each practice is a vital tool. Morning meditation sets intention. Journaling clarifies thoughts. Afternoon reflection keeps you grounded. And evening review consolidates learning. A tool isn't much use alone. It's when you combine them, when you have a system for using them consistently, that you unlock their true power.
That's a great analogy. So, how do we begin building this comprehensive lifestyle? It can feel overwhelming to try and implement everything at once.
You're right, Lisa. The key is progressive building. Start with one or two practices that resonate most strongly. Perhaps a short morning meditation or 5 minutes journaling each evening. Once those feel comfortable, gradually introduce others. The goal is consistency, not perfection.
So, for someone who's just starting, what would be the absolute foundational pillars?
I'd say the absolute bedrock is your morning and evening routines. Your morning meditation or reflection is about setting a clear intention for the day, reminding yourself of your values, and preparing for whatever may come. It's your mental preparation for daily life. You control your judgments, not external events. This is your first line of defense.
And the evening review? That's where we look back and see how we did, right?
Precisely. The evening review is where you learn. You examine your actions, your reactions, your thoughts. Where did you stray? Where did you excel? This isn't about self-criticism. It's about honest assessment for future improvement. It's like a coach reviewing game footage.
So, intention setting in the morning and honest assessment in the evening. Those two seem like a powerful pair to start with. And then, where do journaling and reflections fit in?
Journaling, as we discussed, is your active self-inquiry tool. It's where you can dig deep into your thoughts and feelings, untangle complex issues, and reinforce Stoic principles. Think of it as your personal philosophical dialogue. Afternoon reflections are more about pausing during the day to check in with yourself. Are you acting in accordance with your intentions? Are you being pulled off course? It's a brief, sharp reminder to stay on track.
It feels like the afternoon reflection is especially important for preventing those little departures from our Stoic path from becoming bigger detours.
Absolutely. It's the mid-game adjustment. And all of these practices are supported by the broader Stoic worldview. Responding to adversity, managing desires, focusing on duty, community service, and aligning with nature. These aren't separate to-do items. They're the lens through which you interpret and act in the world.
Can you give us an example of how these connect? Let's say someone faces a setback at work, a project didn't go as planned. How would a complete Stoic lifestyle help them navigate that?
Certainly, in the morning, their meditation might have reminded them, today, I will focus on my efforts, not just the outcomes, and I will act with integrity. When the setback occurs, their afternoon reflection or a quick mental check-in prompts them to ask, what is within my control here? What can I learn? How can I respond virtuously?
So, instead of just wallowing in the disappointment, they're immediately nudged toward a constructive response.
Exactly. Then, their evening review becomes richer. They might journal. Today, I encountered a project failure. My initial reaction was anger, but recalling my morning intention, I focused on identifying actionable steps for improvement. I did not blame others, but focused on what I could learn and how I could communicate professionally. This detailed review reinforces the learning.
And the other principles? How do they weave in?
Managing desires comes into play when the setback might tempt them to desire external validation. Focusing on duty means they'll see addressing the issue as their responsibility. Community service might involve sharing learnings with colleagues. And aligning with nature could mean accepting that setbacks are a natural, unavoidable part of any complex endeavor.
It's a beautiful, interconnected system. It's not just about isolated techniques, it's about a holistic approach to living. It sounds like the biggest challenge is often consistency and overcoming the inevitable slumps.
That's where persistence truly matters. Remember, Stoicism isn't about being perfect, it's about being persistent in virtue. We will falter. The key is to get back up. When you miss a meditation or your journaling is brief, don't despair. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and recommit the next day. Progress, not perfection, is the mantra.
And celebrating small wins can be really motivating. Recognizing when you did respond well to adversity, or when you successfully managed a difficult desire, can build momentum.
Absolutely. You can even incorporate gratitude into your evening review. What went well? What opportunities did you have to practice Stoicism? This reinforces the positive habits. Building a complete Stoic lifestyle is an ongoing journey. It requires patience, self-awareness, and consistent effort. But the rewards, a greater sense of peace, resilience, and purpose, are immeasurable.
So, to recap, we've established that a complete daily Stoic lifestyle is built upon consistent morning and evening routines, supported by regular journaling and mindful afternoon reflections. These practices aren't isolated, but are informed by the core Stoic principles of responding to adversity, managing desires, focusing on duty, community service, and aligning with nature. The key to success is progressive building, starting small, and focusing on persistence rather than perfection.
And that brings us to the final step in building this lifestyle, making it your own. Adapt these practices to fit your life. The specific times, the length of your reflections, the focus of your journaling. These should be tailored to you. The underlying philosophy, however, remains constant: to live a virtuous, reasoned, and flourishing life, no matter the circumstances.
It really is about integrating these ancient principles into the rhythm of modern life, making them practical tools for greater well-being and character development.
Indeed. And with that, we've synthesized the core of daily Stoic living. You have the tools, the framework, and the understanding to build a complete and fulfilling Stoic lifestyle. Now it's time for you to put into practice day after day.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Daily Stoic Living. This is the final episode.
That's right, Alex. We've covered so much ground, from morning meditations to evening reviews, and explored how to navigate adversity, manage desires, and focus on our duties. It's been an incredible exploration of ancient wisdom for modern life.
Absolutely, Lisa. And as we reach the end of this series, it's important to remember that Stoicism isn't a destination, but a continuous practice. It's a way of living, a constant process of refinement. Think of it like tending a garden. It needs regular attention, watering, and weeding to flourish. We've planted many seeds of Stoic practice over these episodes, and now it's up to each of you to nurture them.
That's a great analogy, Alex. So, as we look back, what are the core takeaways you hope our listeners hold on to as they continue their Stoic journey?
The first, and perhaps most crucial, is the power of our inner world. Remember how we talked about the dichotomy of control? That fundamental Stoic principle is everything. We have control over our judgments, our impulses, our desires, and our actions. Everything else, other people's opinions, our health, our reputation, external events, is outside our direct control. Focusing our energy on what we can control leads to resilience and tranquility. It's about accepting what we cannot change with grace and acting with virtue where we can.
So, it's about shifting our perspective. Instead of fearing or fighting against external circumstances, we focus on our internal response. That really helps cut through a lot of unnecessary stress.
Exactly. And that leads to the second key idea, virtue. For the Stoics, virtue was the only true good. Wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. These are the qualities we should strive for, regardless of external outcomes. When we act virtuously, we live in alignment with our nature and with the rational order of the universe, the logos. Our actions, not our achievements, define our character.
That's a powerful concept. It means that even if things don't go as planned, if we acted with integrity and kindness, we can still feel a sense of fulfillment. It's about the doing, not just the having.
Precisely. And this pursuit of virtue naturally leads us to our role in the wider community. Remember Chapter 9? Cultivating community service. Stoicism isn't an isolated philosophy, it's inherently social. We are all citizens of the world, and our duty extends to contributing to the common good. Living in harmony with nature also means living in harmony with each other.
It's about recognizing our interconnectedness, isn't it? We're not just individuals floating around. We're part of a larger whole. And by serving others, we are, in a way, serving ourselves and fulfilling our natural purpose.
That's a beautiful way to put it. Another essential pillar we've discussed is the practice of self-reflection, particularly through journaling. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they all used journaling as a tool to examine their thoughts, challenge their assumptions, and reinforce their Stoic principles. If you're not already journaling, I strongly encourage you to start. Even a few minutes each day can make a profound difference in understanding your own mind and strengthening your character.
It's like a personal training session for your mind and spirit. You're reviewing your performance, identifying areas for improvement, and celebrating your successes. And the evening review, in particular, helps us to consolidate the lessons learned throughout the day and prepare for a restful sleep, free from unnecessary anxieties.
Absolutely. And as we've seen, dealing with adversity is a cornerstone of Stoic practice. Chapter 6, Responding to Adversity, was all about building that inner citadel. When challenges arise, and they will arise, Stoicism equips us with the tools to face them with fortitude, clarity, and a calm spirit. It's not about avoiding pain, but about transforming it into an opportunity for growth.
So, to recap for our listeners, first, always remember the dichotomy of control. Focus on your thoughts and actions. Accept what you cannot change. Second, strive for virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance as the sole good. Third, embrace your role in the community and contribute to the common good. Fourth, make journaling and self-reflection a regular practice. And fifth, meet adversity not with fear, but with resilience and a commitment to growth.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. These are the foundational elements. Now, how do you maintain this as an ongoing journey? It's about consistency, little by little, day by day. It's about integrating these principles into the fabric of your daily life. It's not about grand gestures, but about countless small, virtuous choices.
So, for someone listening right now, perhaps feeling motivated but a little overwhelmed, what's the first practical step they can take tomorrow?
Start small and be kind to yourself. Pick one practice from the series that resonated most with you. Perhaps it's a brief morning meditation or a commitment to jotting down one thought in a journal. Don't try to do everything at once. Focus on establishing one habit and build from there. Remember that regressions are part of the process. If you have a bad day or you slip up, don't dwell on it with regret. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and simply return to your practice. The Stoics understood that perfection is not the goal, but progress is.
That's reassuring. It makes it feel much more achievable. It's about progress, not perfection, and about continuous learning.
Indeed, and to continue learning, I always recommend returning to the original Stoic texts themselves. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, and Epictetus's Enchiridion or Discourses are timeless. They offer a wellspring of wisdom that continues to speak to us across the centuries. Reading them regularly can provide new insights and reinforce the lessons we've discussed.
So, the journey doesn't end here. It's a lifelong commitment to becoming a better version of ourselves in service to ourselves and others.
Precisely. And by embracing Stoicism, you are choosing to live a life of greater purpose, resilience, and tranquility, no matter what the external world throws at you. You are building that unshakable inner citadel, a place of peace and strength that no circumstance can touch. You are learning to live in accordance with nature, with reason, and with virtue. You are, in essence, living a more human life.
It's been an honor and a pleasure to explore this philosophy with you and our listeners. This series has been a journey of discovery, and we hope it's empowered you to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through daily Stoic living. Remember, the wisdom of the Stoics is always available to you, a timeless guide for navigating the complexities of modern life. Go forth, practice, and live well.
Thanks for listening to the series.